Hey guys, give me a second. I'm just setting up here. You're gonna have to deal with the voice today. Pardon me. Let's put some music on. Do your fancy music and give me a second, and then we'll be ready to go. All right. Sorry about the loop. Sorry for starting late. My voice is going. I actually feel better today, but the voice was going for some reason. I think it's because I did the oregano oil shot and then it just like burnt everything out. But that'll do it, man. Good Lord. That stuff's nasty. Nasty. Like Janet Jackson nasty. All right. Let's get to it here and get it done. Get her in. I just want to start with the indexes. And the biggest concern that I have out of everything that I saw was just software yesterday. And I don't think I'm alone in that. But if we just drop this to the equity futures for a moment and really dived into what's going on and take a look here. And it's the same kind of soup thing, really, for me. Let's go to a 5. And really this peak VWAP, do we really care about it anymore? I don't know. You're kind of buckshot all over it, but you are holding here. And when you fell down yesterday, you kind of used that as your battleground. And if you look at that, that really was your battleground yesterday, those people fighting that level at that peak VWAP. So I do think you need to keep it on here. And I do think you need to be aware of it. I mean, that was the battle area. That's where you rallied. That's where you broke. That's where you tried to get through again and failed. It's where you're trying to get through right now and failed. So yeah, I do think that you want to watch that. I do think that's an area of interest, and I do think it's something you want to pay attention to. I don't know that you're going to continually, melt up here. I don't see it that way. So for me, the way that I look at it is, just keep it there and understand that it's there. Could this get worse today? Yeah, I think you could. I actually think I want to take this one down to here now. I think it could. I think you could get that. I think you could get that. Do I really want to own into the weekend buy? Now, the buying at the end of the days has been strong. You don't want to start seeing Friday closes being weak. You don't want to see that. That's the exact opposite of what you want to see. If you want to see something that looks good and helpful, it's actually when these things get to a position where they're going higher on Fridays from 3 to 4. Like that's optimal. That's exactly what you want. And if you don't get that and you're getting something else, you have a problem. Sweet Jesus, just give me the NQ. So if you take a look here, right here is your peak VWAP, tries to rally, fails, rally. So do I still need that? I don't think it's hurtful to have this here to see that you're still fighting that, and that when it breaks, that's when the sell-offs really kick in, isn't it? So I don't think that's the worst. No, I don't really think it is. I think what you want to do here is see if you can get some kind of like major drop and then get involved with it. But, you have the news last night, falls off a cliff, tries to rally, can't. And now you're under that. And what you don't want to see is this, where it starts turning down again, but it already is. So I don't think you really want to rush into anything here. I would say that you probably have another level in here that you'd probably watch, but this is really where you're at for the day. And you're kind of in no man's land here. So I don't think that you do a lot. And I really don't think that you want to do a lot in here. In other words, I think you just kind of want to chill out a little bit. And I really think that they're the people that are going to do the best today. Quite frankly, I don't think it's the person that's going to be like that strikes first here. I think it's the person that's going to chill out and let this stuff sort out. And I think that that's the best thing that I can say to you. When software sells down like it does yesterday and people don't know why it's down, you got to realize that that is a scary place for institutions. Like when they don't know why the heck you're down. This went off yesterday. I guess we can remove that. Yes, there you go. And I do think that your levels are okay. I don't know that you're going to fall off a cliff, but this could get worse. This could get a lot worse. So we're going to have to watch this and see if you get into, this level, or do you just get into something like that? What do you really get? Are you going to gap fill and finish? I don't see what the impetus is that's going to get you higher here. Is really how I see it. Like, I don't really see that. Like, what is going to get things higher here? I don't see it that way. So for me, it's more a question of, what do I want to do here? I don't think a whole heck of a lot till I see some semblance of real value in buying something. I just don't feel that way about it. I watched a lot of people yesterday trade options and just get, shorting this one, long that one, and then we just didn't go anywhere. I'm not so sure it's going to be any different today. The Bitcoin we'll have to cover, but we've been talking about that for some time. That's setting up a huge cup and handle, and it will. And the altcoins are just garbage, and people realize that. They just are. So what do you do here? I really think you look at it and go this is how I tend to look at things. If I just kind of looked at that and said, okay, what do we have? I've got a trend in here, probably go back a little further, and I broke it, and I can't rally above it. And I think that's more of an issue than people think it is. Because if you broke the trend, which I think you have, then you're just in this situation where you can go sideways. Now, if we throw this in with the RSI and we just look at it for a second, go, okay, well, where were we here? And then where are we here? You're okay. I mean, it's not awful. It's not the end of the world, but I don't know that you really have to pile into this, man. I don't know how else to say it. I do think that longer term, there's some stuff here that looks great, but I don't think we're at that point today where it's like, oh no, we have to get in. We have to get in right now. I don't feel that way. I do think that, the Bitcoin to me is shaping up really nicely. I think it's going a lot higher. And I've been buying it for some time. I've been pretty vocal about this. This is the cup and handle I've been showing for Christ. Excuse my language. My filter goes away when I get sick. But you can see it right here, cup, handle, breakout. We must have been talking about this for over a month, and it's finally here. Whenever you get these names and they come up for a second time and they don't fall and they just sit there and they grind at a level, you're just eating up supply. And that's all this has been doing, just eating up supply over and over and over again. So I actually bought into it, and I've been buying into it for some time, and I think you're going a lot higher. So I actually think the days of major corrections might be coming to an end on this. So we'll have to see how it goes. But that's my sense of it. I don't think you're going to see them. I don't think you're going to see 80% corrections anymore. I think too many people own it. Too many different vehicles own it at this point. Excuse me. So I think what you really want to focus on with something like this is who benefits. I have an MSTR position. I've had it for a long time. I'm not doing anything with it, nor do I plan to do anything with it. I also have sold puts in MSTR, and I have calls against that out for the year. I haven't done anything with it. I didn't do anything with it here. I didn't do anything with it here. I've just continued to let it do its thing. And so far, I'm very happy with that strategy. It's been working. I think I'm up over $50 now just in the selling of the puts. And it's been going sideways, $60 now in the selling of the puts, of all things. I sold the 380s, and now they're 43. When I sold them in April, they were 100. So just leaving them alone, not doing anything with it. I do think that you can take out these highs, and I do think that it could get going. You have so many other names now that are going to get involved with this, but none of them have the balance sheet that MSTR does. So they'll all be kind of short-lived. People don't understand that you really actually need a business to be able to pay for your convertibles. You just can't go out there out of thin air and say, oh, we're a treasury too, and you don't even have a viable business. It just doesn't work that way. You need a viable business to pay for it, or it's just, you just really own a fancy ETF that's trading at a premium with the NAV. It's kind of stupid. I love them because I'll just keep shorting them. But like this BMNR was just like such an awesome short. And all I'm doing is just waiting over and over and over again for this stuff to rally just to short it again. SBET for you guys that will ask, I can't wait to short this thing. There's millions and millions of shares outstanding, and there's millions of shares to short. So this will be a fun one. I think there's 4.7 right now. Let me look. 4.7 to short. And I think the float is like 65 million shares. So this will be a fun one to short, because a lot of people get involved in this one again, expecting this. And, when the insiders are selling down here, pretty much tells you everything you need to know about it. So insiders are not selling at 9 if it's really worth 20. So this will be a pretty easy short there. And the software names, I think, are going to be pretty easy shorts as well. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble today, but that's really where my head is with it. These names are in a lot of trouble, man. Like Workday, like they're in a lot of trouble. And, I don't know how else to say it. Like these things are broken. I wish I did this one up here and just left it alone, but you're probably coming back to 200 level. There's probably 10% there. The question is, can you get down there before earnings? Because a lot of people are not going to want to stay in these for those earnings drops. Same thing with CRM. Like that's in a heap of trouble. But you have this support here too. So it's kind of hard to short it because you do have that support there. So, you're shorting into that like 270 if it rallies, and trying to get that off where, you'd have to realize that 257 is going to be an issue. So definitely worth paying attention to. But I think you got some real issues here with some of these names, the software names, these software names like Workday and some of these others. Yeah. I mean, this doesn't really have any support until you get down to here. So this one might actually break a little harder. It might be a little easier to leave that short on and just let it work. But yeah, I think a lot of these names are in, I think they're in trouble. I think they're in real trouble. Some of these, more of this stuff than just the PANW. That stuff seems to me like, can that keep dropping? Sure, it can. But the other names that are really affected by the AI agents with like Amazon putting these agents out there, like that's why this thing's starting to move today. Now, does this continue to move because of that? I don't really know. I don't really have an answer to that. It could, it's a big deal what they're doing there. But I don't have a ton of time today, and I apologize. My, the voice and everything, I'm just really thrown off. But let's get to it, see what we can come up with. Yeah, the question with CoreWeave is, one, you did break, and you've completely broken, right? So the question really is, now you get the 1222 cross, you got the death cross, you're falling apart, you're gapping down. It's a whole thing. I think you're just better off just shorting cores at this point. It's just easier, right? It's a much more manageable short, because it'll just go down with it. You'll have the spread to contend with, but it'll just fall apart. For me, I don't know. I don't know that I really want to short it. You can. It does make sense, but I think there's better names. I think there's better names to short out there. I really do. And that would be my focus. I'm not saying you can't short it. You could. You probably do really well shorting it. You probably need some kind of rally to get that short off and get in there. What I have found in this market is that shorting without the rally is really a problem. It really is. Without that rally and you're shorting into this, it's really not been working very well. And you have no econ data, by the way, today. So I expect a really quiet kind of day, but I do want to just touch base on this very, very quickly because I do think it's really important for people to get this. When you're looking at something like this, yeah, you could short this, but if you are dealing with something like this on let's go here and take a look at this. You really hit a good point here, John. I always tell people you just use the peak VWAP and short into the peak VWAPs. I think that makes the most sense. Thanks, John. But if I go here and I watch like 154 and then you watch the break, the real short on something like this is here, where on that hourly you turn green and then you break. If you see something like that on a 4-hour, it's usually it. But that's really what you're looking for. If you have to go pre and post. Shorting into this kind of stuff, it's brutal, man, because you're just setting up a break. But if you could look at this on an hourly and you get something green and then you break below the green thing, you're pretty much there. You're pretty much there on it, on the short, because you have something to hang your hat on, because now those people are underwater. And that's exactly what happened here. And then from there, it's just been straight down and there's really very little to say or to do about it. if you were to look at this, like where's the level that you really don't want to break from that standpoint is right here. And it's really where you're sitting this morning. So any moment now, you're going to do what I want you to do. There we go. So if I break there, then you're looking at like 120, and then it could just keep going, obviously. But I think that's really how you have to look at it, and wait for the rallies and then short the rallies and, go for there and just keep walking it down. But, I don't know. I don't know that you need to do this versus just letting it rally and then finding a spot to short it and go from there. I think you're better off doing that, personally. Yeah, I like NVIDIA, but I don't think today's the day. But I could be wrong. We'll see. These kinds of names I like a lot, like BKSI. I really do. I had this thing nailed at 13 and I missed it. People in the room did it, but I had this thing absolutely nailed at 13. And it's done nothing but, absolutely rock since then. Like it's really given me no reason to have done anything with it except just stay with it and win. All it did was just rip and rip and rip. I mean, that's all it's done. And it went right to the top and absolutely stayed there. And, you can't break down. It can't close below the 12. And it's just getting better and better and better. And it's looking a lot different than some of these other names. Now, ASTS is trying to hold the 22. RKLB has finally kind of gotten it together. I thought here on that break it was going to go, and it just completely matumboed and dropped. And since then, you're holding a 38, 39 level. I got a billion levels here. Let me just start over really. Let me save that. I don't need my billion levels, but I don't know that that's the one. I think it's this BKSI, and I had this thing nailed, and quite frankly, off that rip, and people caught it in the room, but it was one I should have just stayed with. It's done exceptional, and you've had that happen in the market to me a couple times where these things just start after I nail the theme, and it's literally like a day later or 2 days later they've been going. I've been with those stablecoin names. I thought I had way more time. I just don't. IONQ to me is just like a pig. I really don't see any sense in doing anything with it. You don't really have any real volume there. This whole like quantum thing, I think, is just like really stupid for now. I mean, I hate to say it like that. I've been shorting this. It's been like the easiest money in the world. Rallies to this level, just rallies to like these DTLs. You can see it rallied right up. Everyone got giddy. And then, okay, their hopes and dreams are dead. And I'll show you what I mean by like putting these shorts on. Like you say it, like, oh, we're up, everything's great. So there's your green bar, right? And then you break the green bar and you close here. And you've never really had to worry about that short from there. I mean, you're straight down and now it's just rolling. So you're probably going to go back to that 60 level on this thing. It's probably another 20 points on that short. There's just not much to do there. There really isn't. So, but yeah, these things are ridiculous. Ridiculous valuations. People are losing interest in them. I think this one's in a strip mall. So like one of them is, they're just a matter of time. If you really go and take a look at what Quantum did, like what is it, QTUM? If you really go look at what they did an amazing job managing their money on this. They got into all the fancy ones. So everybody bought the fancy ones. Like, oh, they're the ones that own IONQ. They own QUBT. They own all these. And now it's all, let me see what stock they have found for me. They found more BMNR for me. Good. So I put out stock allocations through one of the systems. Anyway, so if you look at something like this, go look up their holdings now. IBM, NVIDIA, like they totally changed. They totally changed. They lured everybody in with like, oh, we own QUBT. So they don't. So what's happening is people are looking at, this is where people are getting really hosed, right? It's actually kind of funny because I love when people say, oh, I just work an hour a day and then I go play golf. Okay, boomer. Good luck with that. And you're going to compete against me. Okay. So, but like something like QBTS, like see how like this is hitting highs, or like QUBT, And then you go and dive into these things. And then you realize that like, well, these things should be going up because this is going up. No, man, they own something completely different now. Go look at the top 10 holdings. So I would be buying this, Mitch. I'd buy that. What's up, Boomer? I think you're going to keep going. I think you're on the right spot. I think you just might have a little pause here. Use the doji. Use the force. Use the doji and wait for the flip. But I think you're there, Kat. What's up, Troy? Yeah, I think it's like I'm buying it, but I have a very different outlook on it. I think that they're gonna I'm gonna put the tinfoil hat on for a minute here. I think they're just going to turn it into another arm of the military industrial complex. I think it's just going to be like another Lockheed Martin or RTX where, 4-star generals go and they go get these huge payouts and huge contracts. But they don't do it with, F-35s anymore. They do it with rare minerals and rare mineral contracts. That's what I think. I don't think it's going anywhere but up, but it doesn't mean it's going to go up today. It really is the best pre-market show in the world. Why? I'm not knocking them, but why? Like, what is our impetus here, right? I mean, they are 100% ripping. Like they just are. And maybe I got to do more work on them to figure out why. But, like someone just came out with MLCO. And is it all Macau related? Because ever since this broke out here, man, oh man, you've been on fire. Like on fire. So, I don't know, but you have been. I usually have a camera on. This is funny. I usually have a camera on. I just changed the setup. I haven't put it on yet. It's funny, but I know what you mean. I think it does, but I think you have to realize that something's going on with software. And when something's going on with software, I'm just laughing at that comment. But when you go on when you go on there and you realize that they're selling software and they don't know why they're selling it, there's no sacred cows, man. There just aren't. So, you got to keep that in mind. There just aren't any sacred cows. Does Giselle eat and like Hot Pockets too? No, apparently she likes like really big, fat jiu-jitsu instructors. Philly cheesesteak's a really good one, isn't it? I don't think it's going to do it. If it does, I'm very happy. But I'm going to short the living heck out of it. Yeah, this cold's killing me, dude. Lately, there's so much research lately. It's crazy. It's kicking my butt. The cold's absolutely kicking my butt right now. So I think I'm on the tail end of it, though. I actually feel better today. It kills everything. You're welcome, Stephen. I love that pool meme. That's like the best pool meme in the world. Sophie, I think, goes higher. ARCC. I don't know anything about Jay. Let's take a look at it. No, I mean, you can hear my voice. I'm out of sorts, but I'm trying. I'm struggling. Because you just get I just get foggy, and I lose my filter. But let's see, 2278. I don't know, dude. I don't see it. Why? That's what I'm saying, Julian. There's something going on. So, you want to just kind of chill. That's kind of where my head is with all this. Just kind of want to chill. Whenever I look at post-market trading, like last night, I was able to sell some of this at 396. Whenever I can sell higher than where I'm at right now in the morning, it's usually a tell to stay out of the way. Yeah, they've been talking about that, huh? I like MSTR a lot. A lot. This open was like the most active name out there. I can't buy this stuff, dude. I can't buy that. But I think you're seeing more with like military. And I don't think that PLTR is out of the woods at all. Like not even a little bit. I think you have some real issues here. And it's showing up that you have real issues here. So I wouldn't be getting too giddy with this name, watching how like all this is sliding down. I think you're setting up here to crack hard, quite frankly. But, it can always right itself with one contract. We did look at BA. He's huge. He's a big fatty. Argent Jobley. All right. It's like Pedro Pascal. I think Pedro Pascal's like 300 pounds now. Since earnings, you can't break that level, so you do have net buyers there. I don't know why this one's doing better than the other. I don't have an answer for that. I'm not that into the EV helicopter space. I think it's so cool, to be honest with you. Like you're in Manhattan, and then like, you got to go to Teterboro, or you want to go to the Hamptons, and they're going to fly you in. Like I do. I think it's really cool. Do I have to pay for these things up here? I don't know. I don't know that I do, but it's definitely a subsector of the market, and you have people that are definitely believers. So it probably does continue. I do like that, but so I don't know. The girls in the community really like them, so I just torment them. All right, I got to jump, guys. I do this. Obviously, this one looks a lot better than the other. I don't know why I would have to get in these now. What's the impetus? What's the motivation? It does look great. I mean, they do look great, but I don't know that I have to get involved in these. I would say that this does look really good with the volume, man. I wonder is there any marker that's coming out on this that I don't know. You guys know these stories better than I do because I don't pay that much attention to them. But there's something there with this one. I would want to know if there's any update on that story because somebody feels like something's coming there. The way they're buying the living heck out of that. So, all right, guys, I got to jump. Trade to win. Have a great weekend. Thanks for putting up with me coming in late, getting over this, and we'll go from there. See you guys.